Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Titan Chain snow tire chains with V-bar links on a ladder style tire chain here today on our 2021 Chevy Silverado 1500. Now guys, it's gonna be a nice way of giving yourself a traction device to go ahead and make sure that you don't get stuck anywhere in that muck and mire. All that snow and ice buildup can definitely be a pain. So these guys are gonna be your most aggressive option to go ahead and start biting through that snow and ice. Your V-bar is gonna be very aggressive. You can see the twisted link underneath it, and with those V-bar struts on top are gonna make short work of any ice that we might be having ahead of us. So these guys are gonna claw through, bite through, and make sure we get anywhere we need to. Now this is gonna be non-road safe. It is gonna be destroying your driveways if you guys were to put them on there. So keep in mind, you do need to be in the elements with these guys. They will do a number to any kind of pavement that you will be driving on. So make sure you actually do have snow and ice for these guys to start biting into. Now they are gonna be awesome for yourself, of course. I'm a very big fan of Titan Chain. There's a reason that we sell a ton of them. They hold up, they're dependable, they are gonna do the trick for you, which is gonna be great. Now, for installation purposes, they're not the easiest, definitely not the hardest out there. Definitely doesn't take too much time. We'll kind of break that down in a little bit. I will see we have gone ahead and thrown on some rubber tensioners here today. That's just to go ahead and take out that extra slack. They are sold separately, but they can be integral to go ahead and make sure you're taking out all that little extra slack out of your system to make sure you have a nice tight fit on your wheel. These are going to be made of a low carbon steel, which means they are going to degrade slightly. That's kind of what they're designed to do. It can be very helpful to go ahead, add a little oil or grease to in those seasons where you're not using them to keep them in good working order. And of course, you can find it starting to rust if you're not properly treating it. I would definitely be sure we're getting all that salt and everything that we might be interacting off of these guys when they're not fully in use. That can be a great way of just keeping them lasting for the years to come. You are getting a ladder style position here today too. So what that means, you guys can see, I have these big gaps where about my whole hand can kind of fit in. What that's doing for yourself, you're getting that nice start and stop maneuver, right? Because you have these hills and these valleys you're overcoming and you're falling into. That becomes excellent, like we said, for that traction control to go ahead and start and stop. You're getting that nice bite into that snow and that ice. However, you are gonna have to kind of fight it and overcome it every time you make a turn. So those turning radiuses are gonna lose a little bit just because you're gonna have to like kind of overcome each hill and valley as you come to it. So that can kind of impact a little bit. A diamond style chain is going to give you a little bit better coverage. Again, it loses a little bit on that start and stop just because you have these nice kind of skids, right, that you're going to find yourself in. But you get that constant control on there. So if you guys are looking for kind of different options, that can be a nice one if you really need the control. However, the V-bar and the ladder style is going to be your very aggressive option, right, of just churning through, really biting through that snow and ice and having no trouble with it. However, that does kind of lead us to have, like we said, a slightly more intensive install. We're going to have to find ourselves on the underside of our vehicle. We're about to break that down here in just a second, but just keep in mind there are other styles available out there for you if you're looking for more convenience sake. However, if you want something aggressive that's going to get the job done, let's go ahead and see how we can get these bad boys on our vehicle. All right guys, for our first part of installation, what we want to do is just go ahead and lay out all your chains, as you guys can see. Now what we're looking for here is any kind of kinks or binds in our chains. Now with the V-bars, that happens quite often. These guys like to just get caught on each other. It doesn't take much more than just boop, popping them out to the sides, of course, walking them out, and they should go ahead and get properly aligned for ourselves. So the other thing we're looking for here, having our hard points of contact pointing up towards us. Why that is, we're gonna be draping this across to our wheel. So we don't want that hard part of contact making contact with our wheel, of course. That can end up scraping, damaging, puncturing, or rupturing your tire, and all those are no-goes, of course. So we want to make sure we're not having any issues there. Make sure your other cam is on this side too, as we're going to be simply setting this on top of our wheel. To do that, I'm just going to find myself right here in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead, and I like to kind of wing my arm out just a little bit here. It can be a little helpful to go ahead and keep this from hitting your rims. And we just simply walk it and set it atop of our wheel like so, going around the entirety here and making sure we're properly seating here as we go across. So that's looking pretty good. Now I think I do need to go ahead and shift everything a little bit to the left, and you guys can see with the heavy threads here, that can definitely be fun. It's gonna be helpful to take a little bit of that weight off, kind of walk it up, and just start shifting this across my tire. So very helpful to go ahead and get that middle more so than what I got here. As you guys can see, this is going to be your longest part. It's just properly adjusting these for yourselves. However, I think we are getting pretty close to being properly aligned here. All right guys, here we are on the underside of our truck on the back side of our wheel to go ahead and make our first connection. To do so, you're going to take your little hook here. We're going to go ahead and go with the farthest position here, as we actually do have quite a large tire. We need to go ahead and fit around all of it. So we're going to go ahead and make that first connection. Now we can bring ourselves to the front of our wheel and we can go ahead and make this connection. So I'm going to go ahead, maybe try for the second guy here. Already not having a great time with it, of course, but we want to try and get as tight of a fit as we can. So I'm going to go place that in our cam here. Then I want that to actually slide down my length here as I pivot this guy up. So doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get that second position there. Not enough slack. So I'm going to go to that first one. And that's going to go ahead and allow me to bring it in. And then we can bring our extra little chain here, slide that on, and there we are, secured for ourselves. So we do have a decent fit. I am seeing just maybe 1 or 2 fingers being fit on the sidewalls here. However, we have a little bit more, too much of a gap here. All right guys, here we are, we're putting on our rubber tensioners. To do so, we're gonna take our S-hooks here and we'll make sure we are pointed away for ourselves. Again, don't want that puncturing our wheel. And then we're just gonna go in kind of a star pattern, much like you would the lug nuts of a car, just 1 extra one, of course. So we're gonna go up and away here, hook that guy in, down and away, down here, up and away, and down and away. Now that we have all those in place, you can see that does a great job of pulling this to center. It is a good fit here today, especially with the tensioners. However, I am seeing just a little bit of spacing here, and I think that's kind of due to the threads we have on this tire as well. So you're probably gonna find yourself getting down to that second chain once you actually get this to a position where you can roll the vehicle and properly seat your chains for yourself. Well, as you guys saw, that installation didn't take too much time at all. Now, do take note that we have it here on our rear wheel. That is because most of your Silverados are going to be a rear wheel drive vehicle. Be sure to check your vehicle's owner's manual guide to make sure you are well within those requirements as well. But hopefully you guys have a pretty good idea of how to throw these on. We always try to suggest throwing these on before you find yourself in that muck and mire, stuck in a bad situation. That way you understand them. Again, no, pay attention. These can start damaging your driveways, your garages. They are very aggressive. The struts will tear up through anything really. So be careful with those guys. And like we said, a little maintenance can go a long way of having these guys stay ready to use for the years to come. They'll come with this little canvas bag as well. It's got a little plastic liner in it. Now it works great in a pinch, right? Something's better than nothing. I highly recommend just grabbing yourself like a plastic tote, something to go ahead and throw your chains in when they're not in use. And that way you can always just keep them in the bed of your truck and they're right there ready to go whenever you need them. The bag's gonna do okay, but not gonna be that resistant to weather or anything like that. And also it can be, can get pretty nasty pretty quick. You know, you're dealing with wet items. So just keep that in mind. It's nice in a pinch, but not gonna last you too much longer. Well guys, overall, these are gonna be a great little option if you're needing that aggressive action to go ahead and get through any snow and ice that weather might be throwing at you. Well guys, I think that about does it for our look at Titan chain snow tire chains with V-bar struts on a ladder style snow tire chain here today on our 2021 Chevy Silverado 1500. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.